Welcome one and all, HJ19 here, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Breakdown, where I break down the day, the deck, or the duel, and everything in between. Today's breakdown is Neos, except with a twist. Not really too much with a twist, but there is a specific card in this deck that I think people are sleeping on. Let's get into the deck list. By the way, if you already missed my Omni Hero deck, go check that out, as well as the link down below to Yu-Gi-Oh! Paladin, who made this mat as well as two other mats that I'll showcase in another day, as well as these two field centers and a few other field centers as well. This individual posts different listings, cards, as well as tries to make products, and right now, if I'm correct, it's going through a bit of a financial hard time. So if you could be a dear, check out his Instagram and see if there's anything to your liking that you might want to message him and buy or donate to his cause. There is a link to that GoFundMe, or I think a PayPal link to his site. He's just done incredible work, so I definitely feel like he deserves all the recognition. That being said, let's get into the deck breakdown. So, 2 Neos and 2 Spirit of Neos is pretty standard with a Neos deck. 3 Stratos. Ian Shuffle allows you to bring him out efficiently if you have another hero on the field, as well as enable a lot of plays with Stratos. But interestingly enough, this deck doesn't mainly focus on normal summonings compared to something as important as summoning Vion, but there is a lot of chances where a normal summon could help, and Stratos does that just well. 1 Liquid Soldier, 1 Blaze Man. A certain individual is trying to hype up Blaze Man, and though I feel it is a good card, it is shafted because of its specific effect that after you use its secondary effect, and mind you, this is a once per turn on either or. You have to pick either search for a poly on summon, or after you summon, you can send a hero monster from your deck, or elemental hero monster. It doesn't even synergize with Omni Heroes. Ugh. Send a elemental hero monster from your deck to your graveyard. It takes its attributes and could, attacks and stuff like that, which enables something like Neos to fuse with, or sending Shadow Mist to search out any of your enablers. But once you do that, you are hard locked into summoning nothing but fusion monsters. And it doesn't even give you the clause of nothing but fusion monsters from your extra deck. No, it says once you do his secondary effect, you can't even special summon any of your other monsters. Sorry, but let's just limit you even more. It's a good card, but it's not as incredible as people say. It's just really good to avoid any graveyard conditions compared to Vion, where you need to ditch to the grave, banish a hero from the grave to search for a poly. But Vion is superior without the restriction of the graveyard. This is superior only when you are hard locked from using your graveyard, so fair warning. Then 1 Shadow Mist. There we go. Now I like playing 2 Cross Keepers because I still run the same Rhoda and Foolish Burial like the Omni Heroes, so I think 2 is good to hard draw, but I want to minimize drawing into them without any heroes. Then 1 Neospatian Grand Mole, 1 Dark Panther, and 1 Aqua Dolphin. I've been saying this from the beginning. These 3 are the main ones that one should play. The others are just circumstantial, but these can do much more than the others. Even Dark Panther is probably one that you might want to cut, but because we have access to almost forgot his name, elemental hero. Oh my god, I'm blanking on his name. This is bad. Hold up, I'll get it right now. Nebula Neos. Jesus, how bad am I? Yeah, but Dark Panther gives us an opportunity to summon Nebula Neos, so it is good on that, but because it's a dark, it also enables Bestials, so fair warning on those, on using him, but still very crucial for our combos. Then we have, I could have sworn I was playing 3. to King of the Swamps. This is very important for this combo. This is very important for the deck. Now, before I continue with the deck, let us bring up these 3 cards. Favorite Contact, Neos Fusion, and Aqua Neos. Now, all hero players know that if you have Neos on the field and a King of the Swamp on the field, you cannot Contact Fuse, because Elemental Hero Aqua Neos states, and all the other Contact Neos states, that this can only be special summoned from your fusion deck by returning the above cards from your field to the deck. So there's no way this can substitute, because the card is saying that it literally needs to return the card in question, right? The only way you can get around that is by using Prisma, which literally becomes the card name. So that's where you can contact. So you cannot Contact Fuse those 2 into any contact. You cannot use King of the Swamp to substitute a fusion material for Neos Fusion, because King of the Swamp its effect is only enabled from the hand, field, graveyard, or banished, because those are public knowledge if you reveal your hand, right? With something like Triple Tactics Talons or whatever, these lanes of play, these field, hand, graveyard, and banished, King of the Swamp can use its effect, because the deck has no public knowledge. Neos Fusion cannot use King of the Swamp to substitute Fuse. So, now that we have those 2 out of the way, you cannot, I will repeat, you cannot use King of the Swamp to fuse those 2 ways. But you can use King of the Swamp and one of these to fuse in to one or the other of these, because its effect is enabled in the banished, hand, and graveyard. Now, what some people would say is that King of the Swamp cannot be used for favorite contact material because it needs to be fusion substitute for a fusion material. It does not say that on the card. It specifically states this card can be used as a substitute for any one fusion material whose name is specifically listed on the fusion monster card, but the other fusion materials must be correct. It does not state that it needs to be used for a substitute for a fusion summon. It just says it's substituting the materials. And as we clearly know, favorite contact specifically states ignoring its summoning conditions, so all it would need to recognize is the fusion materials. Everything on the bottom does not matter when summoning with favorite contact. So now one would question, well, what does that matter? It matters because if you don't use King of the Swamp, if you don't use Neos, and you use the rest of your Neospatians and substitute King of the Swamp for Neos, you did not special summon one of these 2 with a Neos monster. That means that they can return to the extra deck to resolve their last effect of utter chaos and destruction. So, what does that mean? That means that if you hardlock your opponent and summon by returning these 3 to the main deck and lock them down for the turn, they are locked down not only for the turn, but they even dare to try to summon or, play from the hand or the graveyard. If they have no way to remove this card off the field with graveyard effects or hand effects, then it will return to the extra deck and destroy all cards on the opponent's side of the field, as well as Nebula. It will banish all cards on the field face down when it returns. So it forces your opponent to be like, I cannot play the game. Literally. I have to not put anything down, because if I do, Cosmoneos is going to destroy everything on my side of the field. If I even attempt to set anything, it's going to be wiped out. As well as, if they don't know it, it will wipe out their field. So that's just cool. Oh my god. Anyways, so that makes that even better. Why? Because we've always had a problem that the opponent would just have to wait, right? Like, if you don't OTK me, if you don't have the lanes of play, if I could find a way to stop you with any set cards, then congratulations. All I have to do is just set a whole bunch of cards and pass turn, and then I'll let my trap cards or quick play cards do the rest. But no, this solves that question of how do we, truly shut down our opponent. And there's also one more question to be had. Well, what if the opponent preemptively knows of this strategy and decides to just not set anything and hope that you don't OTK them? Well, my friend, given the fact that you will have to return it, right? Well, if you fusion summon with Neos Fusion, you'll be able to protect it from returning to the extra deck with Neos Fusion. So there's your solution, giving you the opportunity to attack with it next turn if your opponent chooses not to set anything. Come on, that's I don't know. I haven't seen anyone talk about this or bring this up, but I think that it just makes Cosmoneos even more dangerous. Yeah, I think King of the Swamp really does it. It really brings in the whole deck together, as well as it being a very important card to bring in to search out Poly. So there we have it. Then we have 3 A Hero Lives. Pretty standard. 3 Neos Fusions, of course. 2 EN Shuffle, don't want it at 3. 2 EN Engage Neospace, I don't want it at 3. I know a lot of people have been using Fusion Deployment, and I see the benefit of using Fusion Deployment when you're locked down with Engage Neospace, but I just like it at 2 when it does pop off. I try to play around its fusion condition where we're locked. But yeah. Then we have 1 Instant Contact. I think that playing too much of the Neos engines clutters the hand. They can be utilized, but each of them, or at least, well, yeah, Neos Fusion and these other 2, actually, the whole bottom row and Neos Fusion, you can only use one once per turn. So if you run 3 of these and 2 of these, and you're not going to be able to pop them off multiple times. So I like the 2 ofs with the 1 of Instant Contact. Then 2 Polymerizations, still to it. Then 2 Miracle Fusions. For this deck, I feel like 2 Miracle Fusions just works. You could side the second one out for anything in your extra deck, but yeah, I'm liking the 2 Miracle Fusions for this. And now for some board breakers. 2 Super Polys. You'll see in my extra deck why I run 2 Super Polys. I think that for this deck, we need to break boards, and I still run very similar tech that the Omni Heroes run, so we'll get to it. But 2 Super Polys, yeah, and it just very important for this deck. 2 Dark Ruler No Mores, and here's where we have the 2-2 ratios with Forbidden Droplet and Dark Ruler No More. Then we have Call by the Grave, 1 Triple Tactics, and 1 Lightning Storm. I'm feeling good about the Lightning Storm. It allows us to just be a little bit more aggressive when we need to enable, a bait on a negate. So, or just be aggressive, and if the opponent doesn't have a response, then sweep out 1 Rhoda and 1 Foolish Burial. And I just realized that both of them are gold, so that's hilarious. 1 Favorite Contact and 1 Power Protection of the Elements. Still believe that if you're going to be running Spirit of the Neos, you should run at least 1 of this. It's really good. So that's the main deck and the concept of why I play King of the Swamp. Now for the extra deck. 1 Baguska on the off chance that you get drolled. 1 Infernal Devicer. Very important for this deck, but it sucks that you are locked to your heroes. You know, happens. Then 1 Wonder Driver. And mind you, you're locked to heroes. You cannot special summon with the Ian Shuffle. You cannot special summon Neospatians. Either if you Ian Shuffle or Neospace Engage into a Neospatian, you will not be able to summon Devicer. Or, god damn it, Devicer. Oh, I got it the first time. Nice. 1 Wonder Driver, 1 Absolute Zero, 1 Escuridao, 1 Sunrise, and 1 Great Tornado. And this is why we run the 2 Super Polys. Because here are every single, or not every single, but the main attributes that we see out in the wild. These are the 4. Then 1 Sunrise, 2 Infernal Rage. I think for this deck, it works. It's very important to run 2 Infernal Rage and 1 Shining Flare Wingman. Neos Flare Wingman, 1 Aqua Neos, and 1 Brave Neos. Those are the only 2 Neos that are relatively important for this deck. All the other ones are just a bit more circumstantial. We're thinking, you know, turn 1 or turn 2. These 2 are very important for both lines of play. I don't think the other ones have any, I wouldn't say relevance, but it's more preference, and I prefer just those 2. Then 1 Nebula and 1 Cosmo Neos to finish the extra deck line. Now for the side deck. Now this side deck is pretty bad. I still need to work on it. There's still a lot, as well as needing to sleeve these, or the rest of them. 1 Nova and 1 Gaia. So on the off chance that we do see a deck that are running the other 2 missing attributes, then we'll just side them out for any of the, you know, other nature or elemental fusions. And then just the Kaiju line. I feel like if you play it right, you can summon these and still not be locked to summoning not be locked to heroes, aside from Devicer. And 2 Lava Golems and a Sphere. Not really too much going on here. My concept was, you know, aside from the Divine attribute, these 3, or at least these 4, you can relatively utilize to break boards and then super poly them away for any of the other attributes. That was my logic. Still seeing how it works. 1 Skill Drain and 2 Gozen Match. I'm thinking to replace Gozen Match with not Gozen Match, but Skill Drain with Rivalry. I was thinking of trying this out only because of the fact that this is kind of a Hooga Booga deck. So once you summon Cosmo Neos and he stays on the field, that's a 3500 beater. You Skill Drain on that, and if your opponent has no out to that or out to this, then they're just stuck standing there like, oh shit. Great, what do I do? But I still have to play test it out. And 1 Harpy Feather Duster and the 3rd Super Poly on the side. So that is it for the deck. What do you guys think? I very much think that King of the Swamps with that whole combo is very cool. And it just makes Neos a bigger threat. Pull that shit off, and it's possible, and very much possible in a lot of competitive ways. Just the only card stopping us is Droll, to be honest. I hate Droll. Oh my god. Anyways, what do you guys think? Have you guys seen this before? I haven't. I've seen a lot of other Yugi tubers, hero players not really talk about this, and never really throwing King of the Swamp in the deck. And why would they, right? Like, you can't really contact with it, and there's really no use, right? But there is. Gotta think outside of the box. I'm sure I'm probably not the first one to think about it. I hope I am, and if I am, well, you heard it here. And I might be seeing more King of the Swamps into a big Nebula or Cosmo Neos headed your way. So thanks as always, guys. I will catch you guys on the next video. I'll see you later. Bye.